Is that every person on this earth is not seen above the other. Okay, we all have flaws. We all have things we need to work on. Are we perfect? No, no one is. And that's the beauty of each and every individual. We are not perfect, but in our imperfection, we have perfection, because it's something we get to utilize to help other people understand that we are never going to have perfection. And that's the greatness of our uniqueness. All people matter. See what happens when you choose not to have, some form of love. You see what happens? You can't hold me to the past. You can't hold me. You don't have a right to hurt someone. Regardless of what your dad did, you can't do it to someone. Learn behavior is learn behavior, but unlearn learn behavior. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You murdered me.
What's up and what's poppin'? It's your girl Jazzy and
Sanya's Full Circle Podcast Show, baby! Yeah! Woo! Hey guys, I want to welcome y'all to episode 4. I know y'all been looking forward to our first special guest. We're so honored to have Tad Hill, or Tad Sanjay. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so Tad Sanjay. So basically, we're gonna mention about his childhood, his overcoming his weight loss journey through essential oils and all the good work. So disclaimer that, remember when we talk about the essential oils, aromatherapy, like everyone experienced different journeys. Okay, so this may work for him, but it may not work for everyone. So
it's gonna work for everybody.
So Tad, tell us about yourself. So from your childhood and where you're from, all that.
So my background is I was actually adopted at birth, and so my parents were from other countries. Well, my mom was Russian and she was Polish. My dad was actually Hindu. So it's interesting that I have the skin tone of both, right?
Yeah.
The genetics of both, which is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So I was adopted in Fort Worth, Texas, and my parents are my parents, and they're still rolling. And they're elderly, but they're amazing, and I live with them here and there. And I go check on them. But it's just amazing. I live in Texas. I've been born and raised in Texas, right? But the thing about it is that I've had an amazing life. I've had the opportunity to go through a lot of things that a lot of people these days do go through. The kids, the adults, the young adults. And it's been an experience that has been, just an amazing one, right? Good, bad, and the ugly, and everything overcoming for, I believe, the help of many people. That's what my whole aspect of life is, right?
Yes.
So, starting out as I remember, the youngest part of me was I really was a free spirit. I wanted to be outside. I loved animals.
We all?
Yeah, indeed, right? I love having the sun shining down on me. I always said the sun was shining glory on me.
Yeah.
Right? And it just brings forth such great light to a lot of people and everybody. Energy. It's a natural energy that really, if you think about it, it's healing.
I feel like more people need to ground themselves outside and be in the sun more. Nowadays, it's not as common. People are so tapped into like their social media and their phone and their game system that, right?
Absolutely.
My whole childhood, like you said, we're just outside. So
and being at work, and we're working 8, 10, 12 hours inside.
Indeed.
We're not getting any light.
Right.
And we wonder why we're not feeling great. We're not energized. Mm-hmm. We're just not ourselves mentally.
Right.
So that affects our mental health. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and the thing about it is you're very right about that. So people are when you're coming into an artificial light is an organic. It's nothing to do with something that can be incorporated naturally into your body. When a person is outside, even for increments of 15 to 30 minutes, they really do feel different, right? And you're talking about grounding. What's so amazing about grounding? How many times have you out there in this technical world, literally, let me ask you, how many times have you been to like a park, taken your shoes off and put your feet on the grass, right? How many times have you actually laid down on the grass versus a bed or some other thing that's just nothing, right? When you do these things, your body reacts to the world's gravity. It works to every energy field you can imagine, but what you're not understanding, it does it naturally and great goodness. You feel such positive vibes when your feet are planted. And grounding is a great way to do it. So all these
not to cut you off, but like, did you ever do this as a child?
Everywhere I went, I was barefoot.
So was I. No, so was I. Nice. I would run around, knock on neighbors' doors, and they're like, "Where's your socks? Where's your shoes?" I can relate. So
and
yeah.
your feet get ready. It's cool because you really do. You absorb such great energy, and people really should try this. At least, you know, even if it's your backyard or even if your apartment complex, go somewhere where there's grass, right?
Right.
Make sure there's not a pile there, but, you know, make sure you can get in there.
Or stickers.
Yeah, stickers.
I came across where when I ground, and I'm like, oh, there's stickers. And I'm like trying to walk back, trying to figure out where.
And really, you've got to watch that or whatever.
gosh.
But you always know. I mean, you can be observant. And if you can't see, have someone who can see and put your feet right there, right? Because you get an energy field that is actually going to be phenomenal for D3 metabolization. When you metabolize D3, what was the proof of how do you do it? It is through the sun's rays, right? There's a lot of people that actually have issues here and there that say they burn easy. Can that really happen? Sure it can. But there's excellent ways to prevent it. And that is, I've noticed that with like different essential oils. Frankincense is one of the better ones with avocado oil. That's another one you can actually put on your skin. If you burn easy, those are going to be incorporating D3, metabolization of, but likewise keeping you from burning. The reason why essential oils and like avocado oil, castor oil, jojoba oil is going to be beneficial for your skin without being some form of binding agent where it causes a breakout is because it's natural. It's been proven to work. A lot of things that people use these days based off of your sun tanning, things like that, they're not good for you. They have a lot of parabens. They have a lot of things that are just pharmaceuticals that are not going to incorporate to your body. And the reason why I'm big on that is because it just doesn't work with your body. It works against it.
Exactly. So even as a child, let's go back to when you were a child. When did you get any kind of sense? Did your parents educate you on health, wellness at all? Was it something you kind of learned over time? You know, walk us through that, your health journey from a child leading up to like your, you know, your weight gain and that sort of thing. So let's.
Were you always did you always have that good like habit, like that wellness, health and fitness as a child, or when did it? You know, tell us more about that.
The crazy thing is that as a kid, I was naturally energetic, right? And that's what parents should know about kids. They are going to be energetic. It's natural, right? So the thing about what mine was, my battle really had started at the age of 4 years old, right? So I was one of those kids in that time frame that they wanted to put me on, like, you know, Adderall and things like that, right? So my dad was more so based off of that kind of thing, right? Okay. And at 4, they had put me on it, right? Yeah. So that's where my battle had started with these kinds of things. I really didn't have a notion of, you know, health and fitness, or, you know, this pharmaceutical was good for me or bad for me, right? But I did have, you know, the experience starting out then, you know. I still didn't gain weight at the age of 4 with that. And I started really noticing when I was a kid, oddly enough, when I was about 5 years old, I had learned that, you know, what are these things I'm on because it's causing me to not be happy. I knew for a fact something was going on with these particular, you know, pharmaceuticals, just not going to elaborate on it, but I do know something was different about it, right? But I did start gaining weight, you know, around the age around 10 to 14 years old, right? Really getting heavy around 14, which is pretty interesting. About 15, I actually had gained over 90 pounds. You know, when they started me on like the antidepressants. Did you
say 14 or 15?
So 14 is when they started me the heavy hitters, which was the antidepressants. And then by 15, I had gained 90 pounds. So,
was that from what you were taking, or was that? Oh, so it wasn't even like you were excessively eating.
No.
Oh, wow.
But what it did was cause me to excessively eat.
I get you.
Because what it does is it will cause a change in a male's hormonal levels to where you're hungry. So it did do that. But, you know, it was, you know, and from 14, you know, a normal adolescent, you know, I grew up in the grunge era, you know, Nirvana, Alice in Chains. I kid you not. I mean, I loved it. I promise you. And of course, I was one of the avid Beavis and Butthead fans. I don't care who you are.
Oh, right? I love Beavis.
You know, they're amazing, right? I have to say, just in conjunction, I literally had a friend that I lived up the street with me for 2 years straight. I'd get out of my house. I'd jump from my house. My dad never knew. 10 o'clock p.m., right? And I'd go watch it with him for 2 years, never got caught. So, and it was just a funny one about that. But, you know, I was a normal teenager outside of, you know, having the pharmaceuticals that had actually, you know, kind of disrupted a lot of different things in my life. And it kind of put a stump on your natural self, right? And that's where I
even your confidence too, which played a role in like your personality, right?
Absolutely. It changes and alters that greatly. So, I mean, it really... I had a lot of issues with, oddly enough, what I noticed with that particular thing, it caused me a lot of anger. So when I was taking those pharmaceuticals, I had a lot of anger in me. You know, it's just something like, where is this coming from, right? And partly was, due to my dad. And we had, my dad and I had a lot of issues growing up. He was straight up military. And I was based off of a natural spirit. I love being outside. I love people. I had a lot of family that were phenomenal, right? That weren't immediate family, but they were awesome. My uncle played, he was a college ball for Rice, and he was 7 foot tall, so he played basketball. Wow. So, and my cousin likewise, he played for A&M, and they were really good lamps in my life, because sometimes you have the positive vibe, the lights that come in there to be your guiding lights, right? So that's what I had. Indeed, yes, but I think every person on this earth has that, and I know in the time frames that we go through some stuff here and there, right? You may not think you have that, but you do, I promise you. And it really is. Everything's going to come through accordingly. I know it's going to work out for every person. I know it is. It did for me. But that being said, I had that transition in that childhood, teenage years, right, up until my young adult around the 18 mark, right? So 18 years old, I had, everybody comes to like a religious experience here and there. Not a religious, but just a spiritual understanding. It did.
I get you.
Oh, absolutely. And I had that. I was, in 99, I had that experience, and it really did. It was pretty interesting. I came into understanding here and there. As far as changing, did it change much in my appearance? No, because at that time frame, by the age of 18, I was already 408 pounds.
Whoa. Okay, wow.
By 18?
Yeah, by 18, I was 408.
I mean, what was that moment? What did it feel like when what was the feeling in your head?
Yeah, like, walk us through your day-to-day, just mental, like, you probably didn't even want to be around people. You probably were just depressed. Or were you happy, but hey, you get what I'm saying?
No, I understand. It was an interesting. So, the mindset was a battlefield. The mind really was a battlefield. When it comes down to your mindset on that particular, you're 408 pounds. You're still on a lot of the medications, right? And you're kind of growing in that medication realm, right? What happens is that you don't have any confidence, right? You don't want to go out and associate, right? At the time frame, 18 years old, I should have been starting to date. I should have been having, at least a few girlfriends here and there, right? But that's not going to happen. I'm not being mean or hateful or even on myself. For me, no. It just wasn't going to happen. I know it wasn't. But in this case...
Because you couldn't be your best self for somebody else. How can you attract something that you can't reciprocate that same energy back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I get it.
The confidence, I had none, right? I literally had none. And, it was a hard battle. But, it was interesting that my dad had actually said, you know what, you need to start going to like a church or like a Bible study group. I said, I didn't want to, right? So he got me into that. I went there for a while, and I have found some pretty cool people there, around my same age. And I actually knew them for, oddly enough, about 5 years of my life, right? Yeah. But they really did help me with a lot of things. I met one that you always find one out of the group that becomes your best friend, And he did. He was a good friend of mine, but he actually was there to kind of guide me through these transitions, right? Yeah. So it helped. But in that, I had really, that was where that takeoff was, in the branch out of a lash out, right? Because when I finally had, come to that place where I got a good job, I was working actually at the airlines, right? I kind of got into a group of people, right? So, and everybody gets in that place, right? So I had left the house, and then, the different things happened here and there, like with just, dealing with, anger, anxiety, things like that, and even getting into different, just the ways of the world, right?
People treat you different.
Yeah.
And I know you've seen both, like, it's crazy how just being, attractive or having a certain body frame, people will act and treat you differently just based off those things.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because you're still the same person that you were, except
that's just the
real
world,
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, image is everything anyways. Yeah. That's what it's kind of based off of, it's based off of image, which is understandable because the first thing you see is a human being. You see that person, you see what they look like, right? But another thing is what I'll say is like, the body can be transformed, right? Mm-hmm. But before the body will ever be transformed in anyone's life who is ever struggling with weight, pharmaceuticals, or even trying to get off of certain different substances, the biggest thing that's going to have to change in your life, no matter what, is going to be your mind. Is it hard? Yes, it is. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. But that's where mine had to come to pass. And it did. And I had trial and error until it really stuck, right? So that's where my mind, and I had a lot of transition into these
Were you
things.
supporting yourself, or did you have anybody rooting you on? Were your parents like, you know what I'm saying?
Any support system?
Yeah, what, was it just you yourself only, or you know what I'm saying? Because that just only adds to, you know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
Challenges.
No,
setbacks.
No, and here's the thing. It's really interesting you asked that, because it's pretty. There are a lot of people that do have people in their lives that can associate and help that person. My parents were, they were ignorant on the subject of technical mental illness or based off of pharmaceutical usage, right? They didn't understand. They're based off of the era that no matter what, you can trust a doctor, right? And I'm not saying going against this and that, the other. I mean, stick to what you know, right? But what I didn't have was, I had a support system in the time frame that was necessary for me to have that, to incorporate the necessary help for me to get over a certain transition of my life, okay? And that's what I needed, right? So I didn't have a lot of people growing up. I didn't have a lot of people that could be there to teach me. I learned myself on the things that I've been through, and I believe that was based off of getting the first-hand accountability and understanding to help other people of what I've already been through, that I'm here to help you get through so you don't have to. And that's why
I love that. So by helping someone else naturally makes you on board with helping yourself, give you that extra push, because if you're going to help someone else, you got to reciprocate that, essentially, right?
Yes.
Great
So
feeling, energy.
Yes. No, I love that. And we can relate too. Like, we're learning from you, we're learning from each other, we learn from, and like when people reach out to us and are like, oh my gosh, you helped me for XYZ reasons, it just makes me want to do that just 10 times more and go even harder. Same thing for weight. People acknowledge you, like, man, bro, look at your body, look at your muscles. You're like, the average person's gonna look at you and like, you must have been 400 pounds years ago. You get what I'm saying?
Essentially, it's just people helping people,
100%.
helping each other. We're more than just ourselves, and so therefore everything just comes back full circle.
Full circle, baby.
It's a symbol of the infinity. I mean, you're going back and forth. But the reason why is oddly enough, I explain it this way, that our purpose on this earth is to be a blessing to as many people as possible, out of absolute truth and confirmation that others desire the same thing we have, which is that help. There's a lot of people that have not ever had the experience of someone caring enough to help them in some way or another. But that's why we have this world we live in now, and you have, Sanya, you have Jazzy, you have myself, and why we're here is to help other people, and it's out of absolute truth, but especially out of love, and that's why we're here. That's one thing I got to know myself was love, but I got to learn to love myself. So the biggest thing in my life, I didn't know how to love myself.
Accept yourself.
Exactly. I didn't. I had no way to accept myself. I hated myself. I kid you not. And it was pretty interesting to come into this understanding that once I got to know myself, but I loved myself, I'm like, wow. What's the difference? Everything, because you can love other people. And it doesn't matter who that person is, right? The things I've been through with my dad, guess what happened? I mean, once I got to love myself, I got to forgive my dad, and we actually have a better relationship right now, which is phenomenal.
That is beautiful to hear. Beautiful. I would love for you to talk more about like the more traumatic situation that you went through, and maybe you didn't have your dad's support, whenever you were overweight and you started to go on like declining through your injuries and everything that led to like your surgery.
What was y'all's relationship like?
Okay. Well, my dad and I, we really clicked. I mean, we did not click. We banged heads, right? We never had any
from the beginning.
From the beginning. I mean, it was straight up right there. We had a lot of instances where we weren't physical, but we had a lot of verbal abuses. Even
it's the same.
A lot of people do.
It's the same. It hits.
That's name call. I think even based off of that particular verbal is worse than like maybe throwing fist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we did it. when I finally became 18, right, and then I got big, I wasn't as scared as my dad as he wanted me to be, right? Yeah. So we started getting into these things, not based off of physical, but just where I would actually be combative, no matter what. Wow. Yeah, and it was just based off of this and that, the other. But the thing about it is that, and there was one time that was very hard on me, and it was in 2014, right, where my dad was screaming at me, right, and my mom was doing the same. And I remember trying to get up and leaving a few times, and it led to an altercation, right, and it had led to me having, law was called and all this kind of stuff, but there was an injury that happened to me, right? So being 408 pounds, right, and it's the first time I ever had any issues. I never had, but, was put in the back of a police car. So my dad said I beat him up, which was wrong, was a lie. The problem is that I've had to go through a lot of things like, slander, things like that, right? A lot of people, and I mention this because there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of young adults that go through what I'm going through right now, and they feel hopeless because they feel like their parents are going to be getting away with this and that, the other, right? Yeah. I want to tell every young person, every young adult, or every adult, right now, that's a lie. It's a lie, right? You have more reinforcements in your life than you can imagine. We do not believe at times anyone cares. We believe that our parents are going to get away with something or another, right? Or it may be someone else, but it is false. So what was my story in that? What happened was that I actually had my leg go to sleep in the back of a cop car after an altercation with my mom and my dad putting hands on me, right? And then he's drove down to the police station when I was actually trying to call, right, saying, you can't put your hands on me no matter what. And he actually bared false witness against me, saying that I beat him up, which is highly impossible due to the fact that I was 408 pounds, and if I even, really even getting out of the shower, dude, I was out of breath, which is it's outstanding. I mean, I couldn't even believe I could walk, from here and there, outside of the kitchen, right? But that being said, they had taken me. They had put handcuffs on me. They put one cuff on there as big as I was 6'2", right? Oh, wow. I'm 6'1" now, by the way. So since losing the weight, I'm 6'1". I lost an inch, which is insane. That's how big I was.
Wow, okay.
But that being said, my leg had gone to sleep in the back of the police car, right? I asked the guy, I never have been in there. I said, can I sit sideways? He says, no, be quiet. He was kind of, verbal. But we got to the station, just had been I had to actually, my leg went to sleep. He said to get out of the car. Never assisted me to get out.
Just for context for everyone who's watching, how long do you think, an estimate, I don't expect you to remember, how long do you think you were literally back there before you even felt the numbness in your leg?
Right, so the thing about it was, behind the car, and when I was sitting back there, my leg was pinned because I was so heavy, right? It wasn't but 5 minutes, my leg had already started to go to sleep, right? But from that going to that particular precinct there in Arlington, what happened was it shouldn't have taken more than 10 minutes, and it took 22 minutes because he had made a couple stops, and he actually had told me to shut up, and he said a few things that were nasty. When we got to the precinct, it was completely dead. I couldn't feel it, right? It was from the hip down to the tips of my toes, just like it wasn't even there, right?
Wow.
So he, as we got to the county there, he says, okay, get your fat ass out right now. Oh, wow. And so I was like, dude, why am I going through this, right? And I mean, you question everything. Was I in it? So as I got out, right, it took me about a couple minutes to get out. I had one set of cuffs on for someone that's big. From now I understand that they should put two, but they put one, right? And I couldn't feel my leg as soon as I got out. My leg had planted, right? Because here's what was doing. I was wobbling. I was waving and then back and forth, and I couldn't catch myself on anything, and I couldn't feel my leg. So what happened was when I started falling forward, inertia, gravity, and everything was taking over, right? So I had thrown my right leg out in front of me, and when I did, all that weight came down on that one leg, and what happened was my leg had buckled backwards at the knee, and this part of my leg had bent forward. I mean, cracked it completely. So they had documented my death at Tarrant County, Arlington, Texas, in 1 minute.
So when that happened, you're on the ground.
Yes, screaming.
Walk us through. You're screaming bloody murder.
So,
you're like, I'm dying.
It was, and like, I mean, obviously, I had literally watching my toes pointing in my face as I was down, and then screaming. The pop, by the way. And so
the sound of the pop.
The sound of the pop had actually, I had what do you call it? PTSD from the pop, because it was so loud. Even the people inside, the cops inside, heard it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was so loud, and it had literally popped and severed my artery on my in my leg. And here's the thing about it, which was really, I thought this was the most creepiest and evil thing I've ever seen, and this was out of a cop, right? As I went down, I remember looking over at him, right? And he was laughing. He thought it was funny, right?
After this happened?
As it was happening, he thought it was funny. He was literally laughing. This is Tarrant County. He was laughing, but the thing about it is I even fell down and I singed the back of my head on his tailpipes, because I couldn't. It was just insane, and he was laughing. And then that's when I knew where I was going. I was dying.
You get any medical attention or?
So what happened was I was there right there at the. I was at the precinct anyways, right? So they called the EMS immediately. But I was dead before I got into the ambulance. I was dead for 5 minutes. I was documented dead. And the ambulance ride was when the occasion I had a near-death experience. I did go what I believe now and have received, that where I was at was the kingdom of heaven. I had a real experience. I did go to heaven. And it was, it was something that I will never, ever forget. It was something where a lot of people say that when they get to heaven, what they experience is there's no fear, there's no pain. It's a place where you knew you came from in the first place. Okay,
peace.
It was everything that we came from, right? Yeah. So the fact is, I experienced what I knew was God. I knew Him. I had experienced Him, and I had really experienced who He was. He really was and is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I had experienced God in the flesh, which is Jesus, right? Yeah. But He had actually spoken to me. He showed me a lot of things. Man, I remember, all the things that I remembered. There's nothing that, I was like, oh, wow, I'm home finally, right? I'm home finally. And
that's how you felt?
Oh, absolutely. This is where I'm going. Whenever my time is, that's where I'm going to be going back to, because He showed me everything. Yeah. So, and I remember everything. Everything's alive there. Everything is just everything, and there's no ending. The realms of the realms. You have no clue about the realms. Yeah. And it was phenomenal about everything I saw. So, and by the way, everybody is his kid. Everybody is his kid. That's what people are not understanding, right?
It doesn't matter what religion.
Doesn't
you
matter.
don't even have to have a religion.
It doesn't matter. No, does not matter. Absolutely, never has mattered. Religion has been based off of the man's aspects on what they personally believe, and that's nothing. So, but I did. Everybody comes from there, anyways. Everybody. It doesn't matter about male, female, tribe, tongue, race. It doesn't matter about ethnicity, preference. It doesn't matter. But we are all His kids. That's what people are understanding. Anyways, so, and I had the counter there, but, after 5 minutes, right? So this is the crazy thing. I wanted to stay. I mean, I did not want to go. I didn't want to come back, right? But here's what I do know. He never gave me an option. He did send me back, right? There's people that get the option to stay or not, right? I didn't get that option. But, He had later come to me in a vision saying this is why, right? So it was like, wow. So, I want to help people. I want people to be able to be free, right? My purpose is to help other people. That's why I'm on this planet, and I desire that. I want people to be free in every aspect of their lives, no matter what. And I really have a true heart and passion and love for people. I have a lot of love. I never got to have people in my life, and it's been a very hard process to kind of, in a way, be alone, which actually turned out good in my life to where I know I can have that peace to help other people.
It's like you're making up for what you lacked.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. You get to have, now, through this transition, I get to have many people. Look at all you people. I get to have all of you. And that being said, you're my family. That's who I love. That's my family, and that's what I am to you. And I am a helper to you. That's why I'm here on this earth. That's my absolute true and purpose. That's why I was designed to be a help to many people. All people matter. And that being said, in that transition, I brought back to my body, right? And this is where I arrived at the hospital and where I was at, right? So I remember being in that bed where they roll you into, right, for surgery, right? And as I was laying on my back, this part of my leg, right, was up like this. I stared at my foot, and then the pain came. I just remembered, right? Oddly enough, as I was getting rushed into that, into the the first operation, ICU is what it was. I looked over, and there's my dad, who comes, running up to me, saying, "I'm sorry." So, killed me, It's like, dude, you see what happens? See what happens when you choose not to have, some form of love? You see what happens? You can't hold me to the past. You can't hold me. You don't have a right to hurt someone. Regardless of what your dad did, you can't do it to someone. Learn behavior is learn behavior, but unlearn learn behavior. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You murdered me. So, and it took a lot. And, right there was my dad literally had, first time I've seen tears in his eyes. I've never seen the man cry. But he knew he did wrong. He lied. He lied to the cops. And it was a very hard process, because right there was a spike that I personally, we've healed a lot. My dad has changed a lot of things in his life, but it put a spike in our life, and it really will be a permanent thing. There's a lot of people on this earth, a lot of people worry that, if I have unforgiveness in my heart somehow or another, am I faulted by the universe or God? No, you are not. Regardless of a person's religious beliefs, you are not faulted for holding something against someone who has really done something to you. You're never going to be faulted. I went to a place where I know you will never be faulted, no matter what. And if you listen to anyone based off of a theological religiosity, it means nothing. The truth is that every person on this earth is not seen above the other. Okay? We all have flaws. We all have things we need to work on. Are we perfect? No, no one is. And that's the beauty of each and every individual. We are not perfect, but in our imperfection, we have perfection, because it's something we get to utilize to help other people understand that we are never going to have perfection. And that's the greatness of our uniqueness, because all of us go through hell one way or another, and making it out is that real transition to helping another, right? Yeah. So there's never been any faulting on a human being, no matter what. People do not understand that, God, universe, right, loves us. We are on this earth because we were created because he loves us. That's the reason. That's the very reason why we're here, is love. That's the reason. And anyone who says otherwise, however many, it doesn't matter. Because what I now know is the love has really healed me. Everything has. So, just getting back to that story, in the first month, I was in ICU for 1 whole month. I had died 2 more times, one on the operating table and the other time in ICU, okay? So as soon as I got out of ICU, the first month, right, into my own hospital bed, right, I had 3 highest ranking, and this is in a 3-day transition, police officers bullying me in my hospital bed.
Explain that.
So here's the thing. I had 2 beautiful nurses. They were amazing, and they've been watching me. I was pretty amazing. They were very awesome people. I loved them. They were taking care of me. But this is what happened. So the first guy that came, he was, gray hair, decorated, Texas, rank highest of you can imagine. It was weird to have him in there. And he came in there, and he had said in this mannerization, he said, "Son, I'd like you to know, I'd like you to sign this waiver. It would be a favor under the state of Texas and America. We'd like you to be a trooper and go ahead and sign this waiver that we're not at fault here." And immediately I said,
while you're out of it, medicine,
in pain. And this is the thing, on the third one, this is the crazy thing, of course, and I had just said, "No, I am not signing that. Get out," right? Second guy came in, just as highly decorated, said the same thing, and that's the second day. The third day, the third guy came in, and he literally said, of course I said no each time. He says, "You know what? Sorry about this. God bless you." And he walked off. So I never saw it. Then I had 2 nurses come up to me, right? And they had told me a horror story of what they did. Their RN, the registered nurse, the head nurse, had doped me up with enough morphine to execute 5 grown adults. they said, I cannot believe you're alive. How did you,
Wow.
what is your belief? They literally had asked me, they said, we watched him three different times, dope you up with enough Dilaudid and morphine to kill 5 grown human beings. There's no way you're living like
That's
this.
intense.
That's really
and they
intense.
watched her dope me up with that much. It was Dilaudid and morphine, right? So they asked me, what do you believe? What do you believe? There's no way you can make this. We've never seen anyone else take this. It's like execution. What are
Yeah.
you? I said, man, I said, I love God. I just love God. You know, I didn't define myself as anything religious, but I said that I did tell her. I said I met Jesus Christ with this injury, and they said, I believe you. They said there's no way you could be alive after that happened, because they literally had knew what I had taken would have killed people. So it was interesting to hear that. Then we went on to the other surgeries. 7 surgeries, 7 hours each. I had 12 doctors. My leg is documented as we speak in the Guinness Book of World Records Doctor's Edition. Oddly enough, the head doctor, when I arrived there that day, he comes from Israel. He's directly from Jerusalem, but he's the #1 orthopedic surgeon in the world.
Oh, wow.
So talk about coincidence. I don't think so. Yeah. He was there that day I arrived, and he heard me coming in. He heard about me coming in. He said, no, I want to stay. He literally had stopped his stay going back home, right, to Israel, and he stayed for 7 months working on my leg, and there was 12 other doctors, and they couldn't believe it. So I'm actually the first documented case with the, I don't know what association it would be with, but they had taken a vein, it's an artery, out of this leg, and they had put the artery in this leg. And they had rebuilt my knee and everything else, and it was about, so I was in a hospital bed for 7 months. I was in a bed, a home hospice for 2 whole years. And then I was in a wheelchair. Yeah, I was in a wheelchair for 2.5 years, where they said I will never walk again. They just declared there's no way you're going to walk again. And then they said that I wouldn't even drive again, which stinks because I like cars, I like driving. It's fun. But it was a hard, not to mention, here we go. So I wasn't 408 pounds because in the hospital I didn't eat for like 3 months. So I lost about, I think they said 60 pounds.
Like at all?
No, not at all. They had me start doing, because here's the thing about it. When they had me on like the, anybody who's been on like the morphine or Dilaudid, you don't want to eat. So I was on enough opiates to be considered on heroin. So I had, of course, got myself an affliction there, an addiction, big time.
Yeah, I've heard stories about how...
It was crazy. But I lost the weight because I wasn't even hungry. I was numb.
So
right?
how were you even able to, were you just drinking fluids and that was keeping you alive? You know what I'm saying? Like what?
The thing about it is I didn't want to drink anything because I felt so great because I couldn't feel pain.
But that's just insane. You're not eating for that and you're not drinking. So people think like, we talk a lot about like fasting and fasting. That's a whole nother conversation. But people freak out. Like if you go, someone's kid doesn't want to eat that day, or like, oh my gosh, he's not eating. Like, you know what I'm saying? People think like if I fast for a day or two, something's really wrong. Like, but honestly, it's actually really good for you. And then when I hear your story, it's almost hilarious.
And this is a while back too.
Yeah.
So
like I've never even that is unheard of.
So it was, and here's the thing. The first week, I didn't eat anything, drink anything. Here and there, I'd have like a couple ice cubes, right? Because I was enjoying the ride of opiates, right? And the reason why I had and this is going to be attributed to anyone. I mean, if you look at like different musicians, right? People like the dude from Alice in Chains, or even the guy from Seether, he's still alive. But the reason why a lot of people that based off of not just music, but having a very strong opiate, exception, right, is because of the pain they're going through, and it's just it's a way to escape the pain that we go through, mainly based off of family members or something like that, right, or an incident. Mine has been a transition for a long time with parents who didn't know any better, right, did not know they were incorporating this particular, harm and damage to a child, right, but it's easy to just say, I'd rather be numb than to deal with my problems, right?
Which is even if someone doesn't have an injury, this is why people are addicted to drugs in the first place. Because I'm just gonna RIP life. I'm living, I'm existing, but I'm not really here.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah. And it is a very real thing to escape reality and the pain. Because the thing about it is, there's a lot of people on this earth that do not understand there is help, and my help really didn't come from going through. And I had the time frames where I'd go into a facility, a rehab, this and that, the other. But until the person is truly ready to change, until the person really has an epiphany, revelation, right, that it's possible to stop all this, right? And it is. I mean, you're looking at someone right now that has been on every single last mental illness drug there is known to man. I've been on every last one of them, even to this day. I've been on all of them. And each of my transition of these, pharmaceuticals, I call it pharmakia, I've been on all of them at least on the basis of 6 months each or even longer. And it's been a very hard battle. You talk about a mind play, mind games. It's almost like you don't have any defense. You're at the mercy of the drug, So, and of course I come out of the hospital with an opiate addiction. I mean, come on. So it was insane, but,
And coming out of the hospital, you're addicted to that. How much do you weigh?
It's probably around 350 pounds, right?
Okay. Now, not to cut you off, I'm just personally curious. Losing 100 pounds and being that heavy to start off with, did it even feel significantly different? Because you were still heavy,
That's
So I'm curious.
That's a good question.
That is, the crazy thing is that I didn't notice anything because, again, I was still in that, fashion state of opiates, right? And not to mention, I'm still coming to grips with it. Because you got to remember, when I came from that, whole ride, that whole experience, I didn't see anything else but a hospital room. Staff, RNs. I saw nothing, right? And I had a little clicker to watch TV here and there, but I wasn't even caring about it because I was like, I was on pretty much a massive trip.
Truly a zombie.
No, I was. I mean, I kid you not. So, and it was insane. But you get back, I had a room that my parents had prepared for me, with a bigger TV, and it was, I think that was the hardest part, It was getting back into the house where you had a lot of negative vibes, negative energies, right? And I got to see a lot of good people over there at the hospital. They were very, very cheerful people. The RNs, and it was John Peter Smith in Fort Worth, a very excellent hospital, especially when it comes down to like all your trauma. I mean, if you go there, you'll be all right. Yeah, it is. Trauma, if you are having a trauma patient in Texas and you can get to a John Peter Smith, go there. Do not go anywhere else for trauma. They are number one in the industry for a reason, because they actually kept me alive. I should have been dead. I was dead 3 times and I'm still here. Think about that.
And we'll put that down in the description too, so anybody who hears this is like, what did he say? For those who actually want to know, because hey, we all need resources, right?
Absolutely.
So,
and I mean, it went through, but getting back to the house, right, with my parents. I mean, anytime I had to use a restroom, I had to use a portable toilet right next to the bed, right? So, I mean, it was a very hard process to really get through, and not to mention transitioning from a higher dose to a lower dose of, just the pills,
And even with, like, dropping the dose, did you still have withdrawals?
Oh, absolutely. It was immediate. I mean, the withdrawal was phenomenal. So half the time you couldn't even get the things you needed. Like the tens just didn't work. I had to, pretty much detox with nothing, I couldn't go anywhere because I had an X-Fix on my leg, to keep it together,
I can see why you turned into an angry person. It was like this built up.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel it for you right now.
Yeah, and it was.
It's almost as you're like a ticking time bomb.
No, it was. It really was. And that's a very good explanation, because I could have been. I really could have been a very brutal human being. I really could have turned out to be someone who was going to be wanting to get, revenge. I wanted to, I could have been. And I had those thoughts go through my mind? Sure I did. Absolutely. But this is another thing that I have to say on my perspective, on God. I believe the reason why I didn't was because of him. The reason why I didn't go off and do crazy, evil things or getting back at my dad or something stupid It was because of the experience I had. I had a real, true, comforting father that had created me, that loves me, that protected me. He has set angels in charge of me, that I did not dash my foot against a stone. I will tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and dragon. I trample under my feet because I set my love on him. And if I set my love on him, since I have set my love on him, I have love for others. And it changed my life. And so when I got to know God, I love God. And that being said, knowing that he loved me, I can love myself. And loving myself, I can love others. And in everything I've been through, I forgive others. I have forgiven others, right? The
forgiveness is a big thing.
It's
and
absolutely,
you forgiving your father, I know, was a big impact on your life.
Right. And I'd love to explain to people, when it comes to forgiveness, what does it mean to forgive? It means you forgive the person for the affliction that they have afflicted upon you, right? Doesn't mean that you have to go about, well, now I have to go out and be his buddy or be their buddy. No, you don't. If you choose not to talk to that person ever again and cut them off, do so. If that's what you feel like and you can keep your peace and it's easier to keep your peace, do so. Forgiveness comes only to help you transition into a better life, better you, so you can be free. Forgiveness was never based off of, well, you got to be that person's servant. You got to go out there and make sure that person's okay. No, you don't. Forgiveness just brings an easier life, a blessed life, a peaceful life to you. Because guess what you get to do when you forgive someone? Is forget them. Forgiving is forgetting, because you don't have to worry about the things that they did, right? Do you remember here and there the things that they did? Sure you do. But does that mean you have to get back into a mindset? All it is saying, you know what? I forgive that person for what they did. Click, buy, boom, and block.
It alleviates weight lifted on your shoulders, because you don't have all these grudges. Because while you can find grudge with this person, you're going to find one with that one, and then... it's just...
Yeah, I think forgiveness it varies with everyone, so with me, my personal experience with forgiveness is, I think solely, number one is, I think sometimes we always get it backwards, so I think that, I know that forgiving yourself is number one. It's essential, because in order to forgive other people, you have to forgive. It starts with you. You got to forgive yourself. And I've been through that situation where I'm like, hey, what about forgiveness? And they're like, well, if you ever hear I'm never going to forget. Oh, I forgive you, but I'm never going to forget. So that says that a person truly didn't forgive you.
Yes, thank you.
So you have to start within yourself. That's how you can move on with peace. So otherwise, you're just going to go through this long journey of just resentment and anger, and then you're gonna project that and deflect that on other people that had nothing to do with your...
And here's the truth: while you're not forgetting that person probably doesn't even give a crap about you.
Indeed, absolutely. That is the biggest thing.
Over there being they're not even thinking, and while you're over here stressed out.
Exactly, they're living a good life.
Yep, indeed.
They're winning. They're winning essentially. They're winning because they're taking control of your mind, your body, your life, and don't give them that power. Don't. Just, See,
that's the thing. I agree with you. Here's one thing that unforgiveness does do indeed incorporate. It's you giving up your God-given peace to have. Your peace comes from a creator, from a universe, for whatever you believe, but I personally believe it is something that we have to give up. And Sanya is right about this. This is the very thing that I had to learn, right? So... if a person doesn't forgive you for something that you've done, do not be ashamed. Do not be condemned. Don't ever accept condemnation. Everybody messes up. Everybody messes up big somewhere or another. It doesn't matter. Do not be condemned, because that's the very thing that's going to keep you from moving on to the better person that you already have inside of you. And not to mention incorporating a very beautiful uniqueness inside of you that's unlimited. I promise you. And it did take a bit. I know for a fact it's a possible thing, and it's very, very relevant in every human being. But you cannot allow yourself to be condemned for the past. You can't allow someone else to condemn you for the past, no matter who it is. So one thing you can do is this. you can be your own best friend or you can be your own worst enemy. I learned to get over being myself as an enemy. I learned to love myself and becoming my best friend, because there's one thing I can rely on, is myself, right? So therein, I'm not going to condemn myself. I know everything about myself, and really I've become one with myself, and I fell in love with myself, saying, wow, I'm not anything that these people have said I am. And even
on you.
yeah, indeed. But I'm also not the things that when I messed up, I'm not that. I'm something that overcome that, and I love what I am now.
I love that, because we can all learn from our own failures, but we can learn from other people's failures. We've talked about many times,
so many times about that.
So really, instead of holding these grudges on someone, just like, you can literally learn from them. So you don't have to be like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be like you. I'm gonna forgive you. I'm gonna move on.
Yeah. So people come in. I mean, this is so like generic, and people come in your life for a reason. So, and they're there to teach you a lesson, or you're never gonna learn that lesson. So that's the beauty of having all walks of life, and the good and the bad and the sad, and the mad, and so
exactly, you can't have the good without the bad, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. So otherwise, I mean, you're self-sabotaging yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's just gonna hinder your whole life and your potential and opportunities, and it just keeps your vibrations really low. I mean, you're just stuck. You're always like, why me? Why? It's their fault, and I could have been here if it wasn't.
You're giving yourself a pity party.
Yeah, pretty much, and you're just victimizing yourself, and it's all about being a victor, really. And we can all get out of the hole. We can do it.
Absolutely.
So what Tad was alluding earlier. So yeah.
And it is that it's based off of it, and it is easy to go back and justify you as being a victim, because here's the thing: everybody on this earth, one way or another, is going to have something happen that we are a victim of something or someone else, right? But this is where, and I think out of all the things I really had to get over was the victim mentality. That was really where I had an affliction.
We all go through it. We all been through it. We all, we're, like you said earlier, we're not perfect. We have flaws, so it's just a matter of your really perception. I mean, well, initially it's perception. It's like, oh, it's their fault. It's my fault, and and so. But when you get through that, when you get through the pain, the suffering that you've been through, and everyone else, you start to see perspective in a different light.
Speaking of perspective, like, I know you've explained things about your journey through the injury, but like, walk us through the healing process of all this.
Yes,
okay,
that's So that's amazing thing right there. So,
what was your pivotal moment?
Right, here's the thing.
From the drug addiction, the weight, just
No, here's the thing. This was amazing, right? So, I was blessed to come across some younger gentlemen, right? And I did this. First time when I finally started walking again, right? And I gained some weight back because I want to start eating again because, I wasn't on the opiates, right? I ran into some young guys, man, and they're 18, and my buddy, I remember him. He's a very cool dude, and there's 4 of them, right? Met them all kind of at once. I had a truck that was a very fast truck. I had made it myself. It was 1989 Chevy Silverado 5.7 liter. I had done quite a bit on that, right? And it was fast, right? It was all engine. I had raced my buddy, right? It was just one day, right? And I had beat his Mustang GT. It was like a 2004. He was stick shit, right? And I mean, I whooped him. I got him good, man. And he actually had followed me on down to like a station. He said, "You know what? I promise you got turbo." I said, "No, I don't." Right? So the rest is history. Both car guys, amazing kid. He's 18 at the time. I doubled his age, right? But oddly enough, I didn't look my age. So he's like, we were talking, and there's just no way I was like, I wonder what this dude, because I never thought about it, right? Anyways, we became good friends. So these are younger guys. They're always active. They're always going out. They're always doing things. So that was a healing process for me. I believe, like you said, the universe always will provide you a time frame when someone needs to be there. When you're looking for that help, you will get the help. I promise you, no matter what, it will happen. And I really did. My heart wanted something new. My heart wanted to be, again, a kid. My heart wanted to be out there, jumping around, having fun, right? So God provided, no doubt. It really happened. So these guys, these young kids, man, I mean, teenagers, we were out there every day, messing with our cars. We worked on his truck, or his car and my truck, and we just got to know each other. We're always going to parks, And through this activity, the weight started coming off of me. I kid you not. So the weight was dropping off and dropping off.
Okay, so I have to stop you there. So that, for the people, like, that just goes to show you, like, some people they stress themselves out because, like, they're thinking, I have to go do XYZ so I can lose this weight. And then usually they fall off of that. But really, it's finding something that you enjoy doing that is active.
You don't even think about it.
You don't even think about it. Like, I don't care if it's dancing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Your mind goes into the place of where I can promise you, if you just let yourself be that inner you, the inner you is a joyful, simple child. In the simplicity of life has come the healing to my life. The simplicity of being happy had brought forth the joy in me that was my strength that utilized the weight loss naturally. So I got to hang out with youth, but I renewed my youth, right? So I was always active and not a thing bothered me. So I got to be a kid again. It's just everything.
And you started losing weight.
Indeed. And I still was going to like Whataburger and eating a triple cheeseburger, and I still lost the weight.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
and it's insane. Not to mention but in that, the crazy thing is, no more pharmaceuticals. So I had said, you know what? I ain't taking this no more. They're not taking it. I'm not taking it.
So you were like losing weight, having a spiritual awakening, and detoxing from your drugs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So was there anything? Let's go back from earlier. So your essential oils.
Yeah.
So did that have a lot to play into it?
Yes.
A big role.
So here's the thing about it. You're right about that. That's amazing. So the essential oils that I use now are the very, very, it was a God-given gift that I had been given. It was a utilization of a heavenly encounter that had actually come to pass after a vision that I had actually had. And this was actually something that was a very vision prophecy that came to pass. So after I hung out with these guys for a good bit, right, maybe a year or so like that, the weight started ripping off. And it was an 8-month transition where I went from, I was probably closer to about a 380 pound, right? But I had lost that much. I went from like 388 pounds to 140 pounds in 8 months. In 8 months.
From essential oils.
That's how much.
No. This is where this came in. I had done that just from a natural way of being healthy, right?
So I know what I get you.
Okay.
And then the skin.
The skin was.
The
I was like,
skin.
wow. I was like, I was happy I lost the weight, but I didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean,
saggy skin.
Yeah. So this I used to have the skin right here hung over this much over my groin. Under my arms, I had this going all the way here. This is tight, right? All this. Even on my legs.
And you didn't have any like surgery on your arms to remove
No
the skin?
surgery, no suction,
nothing.
None of that.
Nothing.
A bypass.
I had no surgery. Number one, I never had money for it, anyways.
Right.
What is it that helps? Like, because I know, like, I've heard. I used to be a trainer, and talking to my clients, my massage clients, and the biggest thing is, how do you get that skin to tighten back up?
Yeah, so, and that was, the beginning of that was this, was the oils. And this is I have a few different makeups on it, but what I use on there is the avocado oil, frankincense oil.
Yeah, so go ahead and grab one of these.
Yeah,
I'm curious, and like read it. So like, for all the people, we're going to put this in the description. Initially, when he started making these oils, it wasn't to promote, it wasn't to sell, it really was just he was educating himself on what could help him tighten his own skin. Clearly it worked. He has a testimony on that, which we'll get back into. And then he started making it because people were curious, like, how did you actually do that? And then he started just giving it to people, right? Like, here, try it out, try it out.
That's all it was.
That's
I
amazing.
can feel good energy from here.
Oh my goodness! So like, if you don't mind, read the label. Read the label, and the name, the whole nine.
So this is called Baruch Hashem. Baruch means God blessed, means the universe blessed, means heaven blessed, means all positive things, good energy. Everything is tranquil. Everything brings forth a unity in your vessel, mind, body, soul, and spirit. In your skin, everything is going to be attributed. I named it that because Baruch Hashem. Baruch is blessed God. Hashem means God. And this particular one I had come up with that it really is anti-aging, Amazing Grace Face Serum. And what it has in it is avocado oil. Avocado oil is known to soak into your skin, but it's non-binding, so it doesn't cause any breakouts. But it also incorporates, if you have acne, or if you have blackheads, or if you have saggy skin, it brings back the elasticity and buoyancy of your skin. It's been proven to do so, but it also does it without clogging your pores where you'll get a blackhead or a breakout or acne.
And is this like the cooking oil, avocado oil?
So,
because people will be like, oh, I got some in my pantry. Is it the same thing?
So here's the thing. Avocado oil is going to be the same in any aspect. So this is going to be one thing you want to look for. In avocado oil, you want to make sure you're getting cold pressed, all natural, 100% avocado oil. The best way to get your avocado oil, do not buy American-made avocado oil. Outsource your avocado oils to like Greece, Italy, Israel, any place in the Middle East. The reason why I say the Middle East especially is because they do not allow American pharmaceuticals in the country, whether it's Israel, Pakistan, any part of it. If it's halal or if it's kosher, that's going to be fine too. You want to outsource to places that are not on the perspective of big pharma. But if you get anything that is cold pressed on your avocado oil and it's 100%, you are good. Even if it doesn't say non-GMO or organic, right? If you're outsourcing and it is cold pressed and it's 100%, you are okay on that.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's keep going with the ingredients.
So you also have eucalyptus oil. Eucalyptus oil is going to be outstanding for any form of inflammation. It's also going to be there on the incorporating of natural collagen boosting. It's also going to be there on keeping insects away. If you have bugs or you're in Texas, you have mosquitoes the size of Texas, and they're hateful. But that being said, that's another way you can actually keep them away. Eucalyptus has antimicrobial,
antiviral.
Yeah, it's another thing.
I love the smell of it too.
Dude, it's amazing. So it also will unclog your, your lungs, help you breathe. If you get, cold or whatever it may be. Eucalyptus oil is going to be based off of antimicrobial. It actually will never cause a breakout on your skin. It's also there to incorporate the keeping away of insects, flying insects, anything that's going to be based off of biting you, right? Insects hate it. Eucalyptus oil is phenomenal for that. It has also been known greatly for anti-inflammatory. It really do. If you work out or if you just have arthritis, it just eradicates the your inflammation. Even when it comes down to arthritis and injuries, it's phenomenal for healing. It's a natural way of doing it without it being based off of a pharma or any form of a pill. It really does work. And it's for all people, right? It's excellent. You also have castor oil in there. Castor oil is so amazing because it is just one of the better.
I use it on my skin all the time.
You've got to. The crazy thing about castor oil, it's actually known as a wax, right? And you think that, well, I'm putting wax on my skin, isn't going to bind up and cause me to have a breakout or something weird right there? No, it's amazingness about the castor oil. It just has such great properties to it. It's great internal, by the way, and external. So it is just, it's like a gift from the gods. I kid you not. It is just a beautiful thing, and it really is going to be there to promote healthy skin, right?
Love it.
And it does actually return. It turns back the clocks on the face. It really will on your skin. It brings back the elasticity, and it's non-binding, so it's not going to cause breakouts. It's awesome.
So it gives you that youthful look.
It does, absolutely.
You mean to tell me I'm not going to age?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 99 years old now, just feeling so no.
My face.
But it does.
Damn.
And
not 5 years.
Yeah, there you go. But you keep on using it, man. You go back to the babies, like, dude, shouldn't be this young, right? No.
Yeah.
Fountain of youth, for sure. It does work that way. And it's actually meant to do that. People should really know when it comes down to something that's organic that can be incorporated to your body, it's going to be utilized greatly by your body.
And I love that you're promoting this because men naturally think like, oh, that's some feminine stuff. Like, I don't need to put that oil on my face. Like, that's what y'all women do. But really, it's just all about skin. It's not even about gender. It's about just taking care of your skin.
Indeed, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, same concept as like eating the right foods. Are we like, oh, only women eat the good clean food? We all supposed to do it. So yeah, love that. So keep going because there's some good stuff in here.
So also the next one up is jojoba oil. Jojoba oil
I use that too.
It is another one that's a gift from the ancients. That right there, everybody should be using. It actually is good for your skin, non-binding, antimicrobial. You can use jojoba oil in itself, along like with avocado oil, to heal up scars. To heal up, it reduces scars by the maximum, even more so than like Mederma. That's like $20 for like something small. You can use jojoba oil on the basis of everything.
I've even mixed castor oil and jojoba oil, and I noticed after consecutively doing it, it helped with my acne scars. So when you're talking about acne scars, like literally, he's on the money with that.
Outstanding, yes.
Yeah.
It's any scars, but the acne scars, a lot of people have that from popping a sucker, and it leaves a crater there. It will indeed reverse that. It does. Jojoba oil, castor oil does that. That makeup is meant for that, and that's another reason why I put it in these oils.
And by the way, this is why if you don't know, castor oil is thicker, right? The consistency is than other oils, so that's why it's great to mix them. That's why I've mixed mine, because you can thin it out with another healing oil.
Yes, indeed.
Where it doesn't feel like it's sticky. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
it's not that sticky.
So it's not like honey.
It's not like you're putting honey on your face. It's a good way to like paint a picture of what it is. So. Love that.
And that being said, that's why I have these other essential oils in there. The next one up is going to be everybody on this earth. I really highly recommend you looking into. And I actually have another. I've made a few different ones of these. One of them I have with the essential oils is going to be just the genetic makeup of avocado oil, frankincense boswellia oil, and as well as lemongrass oil. Why did I put that together? Because you can use that not only for your skin, you can use it internally. Why do I put that internally? Because people who have a lot of issues with joints as well as gut issues, right? That's going to be bringing forth the proper flora in your stomach, also destroying issues such as IBS. It can help assist and even eradicate things such as SIBO. Also, it will eradicate things such as C. diff, right? People use essential oil, which is frankincense boswellia oil, to eradicate the bacterial infections in our intestines that has been proven to work. So that's why, and actually, this is one thing, my dad, he had gotten C. diff. At the age of 77 years old, he lost tons of weight. It was a horrible thing. Doctors put him on antibiotics. I got him off the antibiotics and put him on high probiotics with frankincense oil.
That is
3 weeks.
And it worked.
3 weeks my dad was on C.
Y'all hear this?
And he was 77 years old. 3 weeks with frankincense oil and high-end probiotics.
And I want to say this with frankincense oil. I mean, it's pricey. It's really expensive. I mean,
but that's why it's good when you mix it, because you're not using the whole thing. You know, it's like you're adding just that little bit that you need into it, which
So you got a multivitamin in one, bottle right here.
Yeah, and it brings back, and it is, and they harvest frankincense from a tree in Africa, right? I'd actually love to go to. I really want to travel. I've never been to the Middle East, never been to Africa, and I know there's a lot of beautiful people.
My mom grew up in South Africa.
That's amazing.
To go so bad.
I want to go so bad. I'm not getting in the water because they have sharks, and I don't like sharks. That scares me.
What? Why not?
Because I don't like sharks. I think they scare me. But I do.
Especially if you have this essential oil on you.
They're going to smell you from a mile away. We want that guy right there.
There you go. They single you out.
They might shed some weight on you, catch up to you faster. They're like, what is going on?
Hey, it's probably a shark.
It's like, and the next thing you know,
and not to mention, I don't need a megalodon, man. If I had a megalodon, I wouldn't be doing a megalodon because I'm not going to get in that water. I'm not going fishing. So.
And you're sure as hell not going to be the bait.
Oh, absolutely not. I can wait on the shore as long as that water ain't touching me. Now, I promise you.
You might not want to rub this on before you go.
No. There's no guarantee about keeping sharks.
Their speed.
No.
You might, We want to attract the ladies, not sharks.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that's the other thing. So here's the thing. I can guarantee that this will attract beautiful mermaids, but I have to stress enough, it will absolutely attract sharks. So you can take that or leave it, because I'm still not going to test, because a shark is a shark. A mermaid's fine, but you never know. I mean, come on. I don't swim underwater, but that's why. Anyways, but so it does have the frankincense, which is boswellia oil, and then it goes on with. I also have lavender oil in there. Lavender.
That's one of my favorites. First of all, if anybody who knows. I love me some lavender oil. I'm obsessed. I even use it in my tea, and. Exactly, you can use it in your diffusers, etc. But some people don't know it's good on your skin.
It's great on your skin. That's another one that's an antimicrobial, where it will promote healthy skin. It will actually break apart blackheads. It breaks apart acne. It also heals scars. It also he brings together the buoyancy. Again, we come back to the elasticity of your skin. That is another one that's a rejuvenation of your skin. Use lavender oil with the carrier oil before you go to bed, and wow, it really does make a difference. I mean, and it's in every part of your body. Another thing about lavender is amazing how the actual properties bring forth an inner peace, right? It brings forth great tranquility. It brings forth positive vibes. So it's been proven, even utilizing on the inside. You can use lavender on the inside, and it really does break apart anxiety.
So anytime you're saying inside, are you just like putting drops in your water or your tea or smoothie? Like how are you?
Under your tongue.
You can do under the tongue. Yes.
Okay, cool.
So I do have
drop it on your mouth.
Indeed, you can even put it in tea, right? Yeah. So I do make. I have some other different, that I make that's directly just for that. Eucalyptus in itself, I really don't like using. There's some things about eucalyptus oil that a person should not incorporate in their diet, just because there's
like digestion.
Yeah, like the.
So this wouldn't. Don't put this in your tea.
Yeah, so you have eucalyptus in there, and the problem with eucalyptus that if you ever look at the eucalyptus trees, the only thing that can really technically eat it are the koala bears, because they have different flora in their stomach, different bacterium that can actually digest it. But there's a few studies that eucalyptus itself can actually have an iatrogenic property with like a pharmaceutical, so it can be detrimental to a human being. As for everything else in there, there wouldn't be anything problem with that, right? But I do have oils that I utilize for a person to use regularly on the internal and also the external, and that's why I have that, because I want people to be healthy, and that's what you're getting with it. But not to mention the makeup I have on the other ones are going to be based off of joint any form of workouts and the things you have with arthritis. Also, it brings forth a lot of peace, so you have a lot of positives.
Yeah, well, I like to include not only that lavender is like it's just a property of calm and all that.
Exactly, because you use it.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I was that guy. I was like, oh no, lavender is going to lower my testosterone, and I need to beat my chest. That was me in my 20s.
A lot of you guys out there think
so,
like that.
I mean, later after a while, using that product again, massage therapist part time, and man, that really helped me while I was applying that on my clients. It calmed me down, and here I am. I'm on edge, and I'm thinking ahead, and it's
amazing.
It's amazing, and again, it's just my perception versus perspective.
And that's the thing. So here's another thing that I have to say about the lavender essential oil. This is what all of realms, people, timeline needs to know. The studies that showed that testosterone is lowered in a male that utilizes lavender was only done on a certain study of prenatal. It was always prenatal. It was never ever based off of a male that's grown or even a young adult male. So this was done on a study of prenatal, and not to mention that the oils that they used were not organic, non-GMO. The basis of their studies were not even 6 months, so that the facts behind these studies were never proven based off of fact. It was based off of theoretical. So that's why I restarted using the essential oil lavender in my diet and likewise on my body, and I've had no issues whatsoever. I've even had gains. So the fact is that these are the studies.
Gains, not in weight.
Yeah, and
gains in muscle.
You know
just
what?
to clarify.
Right. Yeah, so
some people like gains.
Right.
Just had
no,
to
you're good.
that.
Yeah. So and that being said, it really is not going to. So you got to remember one thing I've learned about when I heard that particular theory. You got to check it. Where was this? How many? What was the time frame? And there really wasn't anything to back it at all. I even had looked into some other different actual doctors that spoke about this, and they said, no, this was done based off of prenatal, right? So lavender oil will not cause a human being, or male especially, to lose his testosterone, and it will not cause a woman to have her hormones deregulated. This is based off of the studies of prenatal only, and it wasn't even for 6 months.
Wow. Okay, so that's amazing. Great information.
Yeah.
One more ingredient that we can't not leave off. So you got to mention that one.
This is the lemongrass. This is the one that is actually amazing for your for your body. It is also it's also an antimicrobial. It is going to be there for really strong moisturization. Just like jojoba oil is great for moisturization. Lemongrass is also going to be known for actually utilizing keeping bugs away. They hate the smell of it, but humans love the smell of it. Lemongrass also is going to be there for another one of those amazing essential oils that literally will heal up different scars, acne scars, any form of scars. And it also on the inside is another one like frankincense, brings forth a natural defense and immunity in gut health. Natural defense on the external, your skin is going to be the first contact towards diseases and viruses. So when you have this genetic makeup, frankincense, but especially lemongrass oil, you have a natural microbiome, and that's what's on your epidermis for you to be able to fight off diseases. But on the inside, it's phenomenal because you get to have, the frankincense and the lemongrass, which is my other oil that actually you do incorporate internal, and it brings forth a beautiful floral in your stomach, which are the different, microbiomes we have in our stomach versus outside. It's our gut health. Our gut health is our immune health. Our immune health is going to be depicted by how much bacterium we have to fight off diseases, or the food that we eat, that it breaks it down, right? So, and that's
which is why getting your father off of those antibiotics is amazing, because if you don't know, antibiotics can be good if need be for like that one or two things, in a lifetime, right? But to be taking them excessively, it kills the good bacteria in your gut, which actually essentially fights off or builds your own strong immune system. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
So it just like kills all that off.
It does. And so that's another thing, which is defeating the purpose of
exactly.
Getting rid of what C. diff or SIBO is. What that is a bacterial infection in your intestines, right? So my dad, no matter what, he had to run to the restroom because you're going to the bathroom no matter what. So no matter what he ate, it was just destroying him, right? So as soon as he got the right bacterium in his stomach and his intestines again, everything changed. So it was insane. But here's the thing, you're right about that. There are a time frame when a antibiotic can be incorporated in a human being's life that's going to be a benefit, right? But it shouldn't be over a certain length of period. But after utilizing that antibiotic, make sure you get on something that is a very high form of a pre, and postbiotic to reset your natural way of digesting food and also being healthy. Because if you do that, you'll be blessed each time you use an antibiotic. And you'll probably have to be using it less, actually, when you have a very good, strong probiotic.
I don't know about you, but I feel like what my favorite thing about this story is you mentioned how your father pretty much almost took your life. And it's like you saved his.
That's,
Isn't that a full circle moment?
It is.
Full circle moment.
Like,
absolutely.
wow. That's amazing. And, I know you sometimes live through other people's experiences, and he's learning from you, even if it's from a distance. It's really beautiful to hear that. And shout out to you. Kudos to you for coming as far as you have. That's literally insane. The average person would not have even been able to get through any of that and make it out to where you're at this, you look phenomenal. You've lost the weight. You're shredded. Your mindset is strong and pure and powerful.
Amazing transformation. Yes.
100%. But for anybody who's wondering, because I'm wondering, how often did you use this to see results?
So,
did you put it in? Where did you put it?
So,
just for anybody who wants to know.
And that being said, I had what I had done was it took 1 year and about 5 months and 3 days for the skin to completely tighten up. And what I used was the avocado oil, frankincense oil, and I used the lavender oil, and I used the eucalyptus oil, right? And I used it in a blend that I just was given to by a blessing from heaven, right? And I had utilized that for a year and 5 months and 3 days, and I remember it. But the thing about it is what I do is I took actually a hot shower right before I go to bed, and I doused my body with these oils, and I actually...
So you opened up your pores.
Yeah.
You opened up your pores, you opened up your pores, which allowed
better absorption.
I love that.
That's oddly enough, because I didn't know why I knew I was led to take a very hot shower before that. That's interesting that I didn't know that your pores open up like down the hot. I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting. Wow,
that's why they
crazy.
say people detox when they go in steam rooms or they're in the...
really?
Do you get me?
Yeah, outstanding. tanning. I love those things. I never got to do that.
So another thing with essential oils or aromatherapy, what really helps is like the stress level.
Yeah.
The stress management. So what it truly does is a lot of times our body goes through a fight or flight, and through work, family, projects, you name it.
Yeah.
So that stress is the number one killer. Mm-hmm. So when your cortisol stress level goes up, it basically your body's fight or flight. Your sympathetic nervous system is just activated constantly. Mm-hmm. So that contracts your digestive system, your blood vessels, everything, because everything's shunt, right?
Yeah.
So just imagine when people are constantly on fight or flight, they can never calm down.
Yeah.
So that's why important when you go get massages, get your upgrades, go get your aromatherapy, so because that will lower your stress hormones.
Right, because some people might think like, oh, they're just trying to upsell me.
Yeah, they're just selling.
But really, they're looking out for you.
Absolutely, yeah. In
life, which was known as autopography. Autopography was utilizing meats only in the collagen boosting levels I needed to tighten up the rest of my skin, but mainly to incorporate the rest of the fat that was a residual, fat that just really couldn't, be taken on any form of carbs, even low sugars, right? So in this lastly has really just boosted my life in a phenomenal radius, and I started the carnivore diet last October. So it's brought forth the completion, also a healing, and also cognition and skin and mind and ready to go. So, these are the things that I utilize for me, and it's been a blessing to me. But the thing is that these transitions from all these different diets and things like that is going to be based off of directly for people, and my story is going to be there to help people. And that's what I'm hoping to utilize this, because there's a lot of people that have a general question: can the natural way of life bring forth an actual life of natural and happiness and peace? Can it happen? Yes, it can, and it absolutely can, and it's for all people, And I always say this. I said a synthetic is pathetic, right? The only thing you want a synthetic for is put it in your engine oil because it's better, right? As far as something that's a synthetic, I will highly recommend if you're looking in to a natural way of life, and of course consult your doctors, see what they say. But if you have more of an unction,
don't always do what they say. Do your research.
Yeah, that's another thing. So
I'm just saying, just because they're a doctor, that doesn't mean they're telling you what's actually legit.
Yes.
Just want to throw that out there.
And just for instance, I have to bring forth this. When it comes down to a statin, please do the research on what they're saying about a statin. If you have issues with cholesterol, please do the research on doctors that will give you the absolute truth about a statin. If you're having within a month's time frame the things that they're saying now, please consider finding an alternative doctor. But that being said, it's been an amazing journey to go from all the different drugs I was on, and then utilizing the pain, good, bad, and the ugly we talked about, to incorporate, glory, right? But the story is just beginning with me, and that's what I'm here to tell you. We have a full circle of people that are going to be in this line of sight of greatness, and every last person on this earth can do this. I was by myself, and whether you are or you're not by yourself, okay? And everybody can do what I've done, and that's for all people. So health is for all people. People should be for all people. But in this being said, make sure in that circle of people, even if you have just you have enough.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Well, so what would you say that your silver lining?
So, and that being said, what I do know about the things that I experience in life are the impossible situations that would have turned a human being into someone who is miserable to hurt other people, and even thinking that there's no hope on getting off of drugs or getting off of pharmaceuticals or getting over a 408 pounds, or not being able to forgive a loved one, or to even think that there was hope for one, right? And even just being one, but coming into that place that there was. And I found one person that I can rely on, and that is myself. And loving myself. And love was the very thing that healed me of all things. And I really do believe in a creator. I really do believe in God. I really did experience what I experienced, and it had changed my life. But one thing I do know is every human being matters. People have no clue the glory inside of you. Every one of you have such a power inside of you that I desire to unleash. And I desire for you to know how unique you are. I really hope that I can bless every person, as many as there is to bless. I really pray for it. I really hope for it, because that's really just where my place is. I never got to have a family, so I'm hoping for a big family. I hope there's a lot of people out there that want that connection. I desire it. I hope you do, because there really is healing, and it's unlimited power that we can tap into that's within ourselves, and we really, every person matters. So you have help. Every person, I do promise you have help. There's no doubt.
Now, he used this only for himself, but now it's open for people to purchase and to get from you, which is great. He's in the process of getting his website, doing all the works of that. But please reach out to him. We're going to have it in the description below. Reach out to him. If you have any questions, he will answer them all. He will get that product to you. And I hope you all try it, because it's amazing. I've already been trying it. He's about to start trying it. It's some good stuff. It's all natural, organic, pure greatness, right? And it was just a pleasure. We were blessed to have you.
What a great
our
honor,
first
guys.
Guest on our podcast episode.
Yes.
So, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I know it seems so hard to click that subscribe button. Please do it.
Yes.
And like this video, and comment below what actually impacted you. Did you resonate with anything? Can you relate to something? Is there an oil that you didn't see that he listed that you love? And he'll take that into consideration. He loves feedback. We love feedback. So that being said,
well, guys, we just want to thank you for your patience, your time, and we are doing the editing and everything. We just want to let you know, like, please just like hang in there with us. We're still working on our third episode, and then that's my episode, and then obviously we're just so honored to have Tad on our fourth episode, our very first special guest. And if you haven't seen introduction 1 and then about Jazzy and episode 2, please go back, because it's basically our why. So, and that's what kicked our momentum to
why
here.
we even got a podcast.
Why we even got a podcast, absolutely. So, again, Tad, for being here is such a great honor again. So, anyway, thank you for the Jazzy and... What?
I was like, thank you for what? What are you talking about?
Okay.
Thank y'all for watching Jazzy and
watching.
Sanya's Full Circle Podcast Show, baby!
Yeah!
We love fuck ups.
Yeah, there you go.